Welcome back. Oil prices slid on Tuesday from the highest levels in a month after Chinese economic data dampened market sentiment, and the head of the International Monetary Fund warned of a tougher 2023. Brent crude futures had fallen by 25 cents to $85.66 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was at $80.06 a barrel, and that's down 20 cents. Weaker factory data from China, which is the world's largest crude importer and second largest oil consumer, weighed on prices. And well, to talk more about this and other issues in the commodities space, we have Bolanle Agbaje, analyst with Financial Derivatives Company, joins us. Hi, Bolanle. Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Good to see you in 2023.
Yes.
Hope we'll have better conversations.
It starts from within us. We have to just be optimistic. Although we'll still be feeding off of what, happened in 2022.
The reality you mean, because we already started with issues of taxes,
yes.
The debts burden, financing the 2023 budget.
Recession talks, and even all the fuel situation that we're still facing.
That we had to carry over from 2022. We still have queues out there.
Yes,
if you want to buy petrol now, you check.
Exactly.
You check where you're going to, how long you have to queue, and all of that.
Yes.
Unfortunately, and then we have this threat also from China, the COVID situation, and that affects oil prices for everybody.
It does, it does. But, on one hand, you have a situation where they've talked about easing, the lockdowns and even stopping it in actual fact. I think by mid-January, they're looking at that. And what then happens is, obviously, you get more surging cases of COVID, but on the bright side, you'd see, more activity within the Chinese economy.
But will there really be activity? Are they going to keep to that plan? With the number of deaths and the number of countries either threatening or shutting down travelers from China. I don't know if they will continue.
It's a very sticky situation in the sense that, on one hand, they, closed down the economy and you have complaints by people in China.
There were protests, yes.
Yeah, there were protests and all that. So I'm sure the government is just thinking, you know what, let's just see what happens. Let's loosen up and see how, COVID can manage itself.
And they loosened up, and then we saw that. Yes,
we did. But the good thing for us is, as they loosen up, what we can feed off from it is, the increased demand in major sectors in the world economy, particularly the oil, industry, and that obviously favors, and that favors us as well.
Yeah, but it can also be risky because if they have more cases and it spreads to Nigeria, it's another threat.
So, but what happens is, like America has come out to say they're going to more or less require, a positive COVID or negative COVID test from, travelers from China, and it will be nice for Nigeria to also do the same and make sure they don't bring in, these COVID cases from China and from other countries as well. Yeah, because so those measures have to still be in place.
Yeah, because I think it's is it less than a month ago that Nigeria dropped all the requirement for travelers and all of that?
As a lot of analysts have mentioned, it seems COVID is here to stay for a while, and it will just be nice for, economies to form and find a new normal around this, situation that's going on.
I guess that's what they call living with COVID.
Yes, living with COVID.
All right, then we have LNG, liquefied natural gas, plunging.
Yes, so the fact that European EU had already, this is talks that had started mid-2022 where they were building, their inventories. And it's great to see that all that work has actually paid off in the sense that even though, you had seen the increased demand, their inventories had been stocked up to about 90%. I think now I was reading about 83% in high inventory levels. And that's great, for supply levels. And obviously that feeds into lower prices. And also the fact that they had already anticipated a stronger than expected weather conditions, and right now you're seeing milder conditions, but obviously January, February is usually the peak time for the harsh winter weather, and it'll be nice to see what goes on from there.
But I think the sad thing is, even when the price was soaring, Nigeria couldn't take advantage of it.
I think in Nigeria now, we're still trying to balance ourselves and try to, once the elections, I think once we have a situation when we've done the elections, we can now go back to our new normal and face what's in front of us, and that's the economy. I think we would actually see, this balancing situation for us.
That's a major slice of optimism optimism there, Balani.
No, it is, because, and I'm really happy that the elections are happening, you know, in the beginning of the year. So we do have time to balance out before the end of the year. I'm very hopeful that by the end of the year, we'll see inflation numbers go down. We'll see,
because Kenya is already seeing
Kenya is
a depreciation of inflation.
Doing great.
I'm jealous.
Their coffee production is really high. They're exporting a lot, and they're really benefiting.
And food prices is reducing.
Yes,
I wonder how they're doing that.
Well, you know, it's not just now. It's acts that had been done, you know, from the beginning of last year, even from 2021, and obviously they're reaping the benefits of that now. So I'm quite sure that from all the plans that we do have from last year and from the beginning of this year, and when there's this balance out of, you know, the uncertainty in the market, we would, you know, hopefully fall in the same situation as Kenya. But Kenya
well, I guess it's not just a matter of hope. I believe when you read about some of these countries, Angola benefited from, there are intentional plans that are carried out to put the country in a situation where they can benefit from what's going on globally and not just get hit. The dollar strengthens, then we get hit. Price of oil goes up. When we're supposed to benefit, our subsidy goes up, and then, you know, we just get hits from everywhere.
We still have that lingering effect on the side, and that's corruption. And we're still trying to, you know, make sure that we're battling this particular issue. But in any sense, when you have that on the back burner of some of these policies, it doesn't allow that to translate, or the full effect of those policies to translate in the economy. And I think that's our major issue here. In all those other countries, when you look deep, in fact, when you travel to some of those countries, you would feel the discipline in the air. You know, a lot of the individuals that live in the economy, they're supportive of the policies. They do things the right way, and that translates to the individual within those economies. But if you're looking at, you know, a lot of Nigerians, everybody's trying to find ways to, you know, bend the system and, you know, cheat from the system, and I think that's what translates in the economy.
All right. Okay, so I just learned that the president has signed the 2023 appropriation bill, the budget. If we could have that visuals from our control room, there you have it. It's already been signed. The budget is 21.83 trillion naira. Remember that last week, the lawmakers increased that budget by 1.3 trillion naira. And of course, that raises the concerns of funding that budget. We still have the supplementary budgets, which was signed, about 819 billion naira. And then we have the Ways and Means, which is proposed to be converted. You know, and of course that will also be another debt to be serviced by the federal government, and all will be on the budget and the financing of the budget for 2023. So, Bonale, you know, the issue of financing the budget, the issue of debt, debt and versus the revenue, the debt revenue ratio, and it's not just for Nigeria, we do know that, but let's face our country, because it seems like if we were doing some things right, we would not have to import or borrow so much. If we could go back to our mineral resources, for instance, the CBN has been talking about non-oil exports, ease of doing business, and yet we are talking of taxes that will most likely scare away investors. We are talking of gas flaring, and we see Europe looking for gas. You know, so
So, you know, we come several times to talk about commodities and, you know, the benefits of improving and, you know, investing in some of the commodities that we are, you know, God has really, you know, put in the country so we can benefit from. And it seems like we're still going to be struggling to make sure that we actually benefit from this and more or less develop a comparative advantage. But I think the issue around the budget and the bills and all of that is the fact that a lot of the revenue revenue that is generated is being spent on recurrent expenditure. And that is a continuous battle for Nigerians. We still use some of these revenues to service, our debt. And, there are lots of industries that are still hanging that can more or less create a ripple effect in the economy where we can actually benefit more, like the educational sector, the construction, all of that. So that has always been the problem, and it's still lingering. The good thing is, obviously, we're signing that now, so it means that the fiscal year from 2023 is, on board, and I'm sure that the government is trying so hard to make sure that they look for ways to fund it in such a way that they actually benefit from it. And obviously, we've seen reports that have mentioned that the agricultural sector has actually increased. I think it increased in Q3.
Yeah, and I think about 1.8 or something.
Yes, and that's good news for us. We would appreciate small wins, but we do have a lot of potential in this situation. And right now, even the price of cocoa is currently at about $2,600, dollars. We could actually benefit significantly from this and increase our revenues generated from some of these agricultural products.
Earlier when you said that you go to some of these other countries and you actually feel the discipline and all of that, what came to my mind is perhaps it is because those citizens are being carried along, when the law is being made. For instance, the finance bill we are talking about, which is going to be the basis on which the budget is being operated or implemented. A lot of stakeholders feel that they have not been carried along. So what happens is those companies or corporates will look for ways to circumvent. I mean, do you understand?
And that's where the corruption angle also comes into play.
Yes, because they feel they're being cheated.
Yes.
Okay, I paid tax last year. What was the fruit of it? I don't have the roads. I don't have the electricity. I paid the tertiary education. ASU is on strike. We don't feel the impact of what we're paying. Why should I pay this year again? So people look for ways to, take the shortcut, and then the whole country suffers at the end of the day.
It's a negative multiplier effect. So I'm not getting the benefits from this. I'm going to sabotage, the next thing. And obviously that feeds into the economy in a negative way. And
unfortunately.
Yes, it
very
does.
unfortunate, Bolanle. Thank you so much for sharing your views with us. I enjoy your optimism. I will keep at it.
It's nice to start the year being optimistic.
Being optimistic.
Just to have, that peace of mind.
Okay. And survive it.
Yes, and survive
Thank you so much for your time. We'll see you again on Thursday, God's grace.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay.